welcome to episode 121 of Geeks Who Like Sports. As always, I am Ray Carcillo in beautiful Los Angeles, California. It actually has been pretty beautiful the last couple of days. It's been somewhat pleasant. And of course, joined as always by the rest of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where it has not been pleasant, as they've been hit hard by a terrible storm, Hurricane Ida, or at least now Tropical Storm Ida. Lee Elias, Lee, how are you doing today, my friend?
It was a post-tropical depression. That was what they called it. A post-tropical cyclone has rammed across the state of Pennsylvania and the Northeast. Ray, actually, I'm doing quite well. My area, although we got a lot of rain, it really was not hit that hard compared to the surrounding areas. I mean, it seems like a 20-mile radius, not even, maybe a 10-mile radius around my house was safe. And then everything outside of that was, I mean, the city of Philadelphia is kind of half underwater. Conshohocon's underwater. It's just not prepared for it up here. So any other listeners in the Northeast that are listening to this live or obviously on replay, I hope you're doing well. If you need anything and you're close by, if you need a hot coffee or something or place to sleep, let me know. That's only redeemable for the next few weeks. Don't come after like episode 600 and be like, oh, you said this back in 121 that you come by. I don't know why I'm doing a Bill Clinton impression. That was kind of weird, but no, we're doing well. Excited to be back. You and I have had a few kind of just hectic, busy weeks. So we had to pick really the best topics to talk about tonight. And there's a lot of really it seems like I'm saying this a lot recently, but like sports and geekdom today, we got some big topics. In fact, if we're not even going to get them all, like I'll give you an example, like the Wheel of Time trailer came out today, which is really a big deal. I'm not even going to get to it today.
It's not going to be on today's show. Yes. And for those of you who are also listening now, by the way, we are now officially, first off, actually, before I want to go on mentioning the hurricane, of course, all our thoughts and our hearts go out to the folks in Louisiana who, of course, were. You
can send prayers too. I don't know why people thought prayers. Nothing wrong with prayers.
I know. I didn't want to say that. It seems like you say thoughts and prayers now, and everybody's like, "Oh, why did you say thoughts and prayers?" Like
they tried to take that away from people, and I'm saying it's okay. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. It's never wrong to send that.
So, of course, the folks affected most drastically in Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana. And of course, and like you said, I mean, even a lot of folks in Jersey, the Yankee AA Stadium actually got completely flooded. Like it looks like a fishbowl. It's actually insane. If you've seen this, it's on Twitter. The satellite photos, it's just full of brown water.
It's a baseball field full of water. It's what in the stands too, like the first few levels of the stands.
It's all the way up to the top, like almost to the top tier of seats. It's actually insane.
But the water will recede. Also, we should. I hate to do this, but we anybody really on that path of that thing from Louisiana all the way up here. Hope you're all right.
New York has been underwater. You've been seeing all the subway videos, I'm sure. If you're in the Northeast, it's absolutely been it's been an insane week for us. It's been an insane week for the country. Right. And but we are here for you, and we are now officially on our fall schedule.
We are.
So we are now slipping now because that's why we're going to be talking about some football today. We got a big show for you. We got baseball playoff races. We got football. We've actually even got a weird soccer story. We've got a lot of obviously video game stuff.
Soccer stories that aren't weird in my mind, but
for sure. We got a lot of Marvel stuff. It's like Lee said, it's going to be more of a cherry picked show today. As we adjust now to our fall schedule, where we will be broadcasting midweek live on Twitch, twitch.tv/Ray Carcillo, and then the episodes will be airing before the weekends. This way, of course, as football season starts to get underway officially next week, we will have we'll have the games under our belt as we do our week-by-week breakdown. So this is officially our fall schedule for the remainder of football season. Welcome. But we got a big show for you folks. And we got a lot going on. And speaking of welcome, who's gonna be welcoming a lot of people? Spiderman. He's gonna be welcoming a lot of folks into his universe as we kick things off with the official. By the way, folks, there are spoilers. I know there's a couple of folks who've been here in chat who have not wanted to hear any talk about this, so you're being forewarned. If you were trying to go into No Way Home, completely in the dark.
Hey, look who's here.
Now's your 10 minutes to skip ahead. Seth, welcome, Seth in chat. Of course, again, we're doing this on Twitch, live on Twitch as well. Seth, we're going to go right to the Marvel talk. Of course, the No Way Home trailer for Spider-Man, which looks like it's mixing elements of One More Day. There's already the fan theories out there that Doctor Strange isn't Doctor Strange. Is it Agatha? Is it Mephisto? We got to mention it, even though we hate saying that name now. All this stuff, as it looks like Spider-Man tries to get Doctor Strange to have everybody forget about him. That's how he solves the problem of everybody knowing his secret identity. And of course, chaos ensues. We've seen hints of Sandman, Electro, Lizard, Green Goblin, Doc Ock, and we're talking like the villains from the other movies,
right?
Coming in, and of course we did not see Toby or Andrew Garfield
Officially,
but we did officially.
Officially, we haven't
but
seen
we officially we have not seen them, but we did see some of their villains. Lee, I am both super excited for this.
Yeah.
But because they are touching into one more day, I'm also cautiously pessimistic
Right.
a little bit. Of course, one of the worst storylines in Spider-Man history.
Ray, let me tell you what
Lee,
I
your
think.
thoughts.
Let me tell you what I think, because I think Disney knows exactly what they're doing. Ray, you could say that Doctor Strange is a master manipulator. Agatha. You could say Mephisto. You could say lots of people in this trailer are master manipulators. I believe Disney is also a master manipulator. My Spidey sense is going off and saying that, well, I'm sure some of this stuff we saw is going to be in the film. I think that this is a massive mislead like they normally do. There was a lot about this trailer that was very off. And again, that's unexplained, which means we just don't know anything that's going to happen in this movie. I don't think it was fake to see Doc Ock, and I think they are teasing a lot of the villains. But like things like why is Bleecker Street completely covered in ice? Who knows? Doctor Strange acting very weird. I would not be surprised if a lot of that footage was not actually things that are going to be in the movie, or just so inconsequential in terms of the film that they pieced something together to completely dislodge us. I do think, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, I think all of them are going to be in the film, and all the villains. I just don't think for a second Disney's giving us anything. I had people messaging me like, I can't believe Doctor Strange screwed up. I'm like, yeah, it's just not that easy. It's just no way that it happened that way. Keep in mind too, friends, that when Infinity War came out, I think it was 80% of the trailer was just not at all in the film, or most of it was in the first 10 minutes. I just don't think they're giving us much. I think that they know that other trailer leaked. I still kind of believe that might have been a real trailer with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. I haven't seen anybody debunk that yet. But like I said, they're just giving us a little taste of, hey, look who's here. Doc Ock's here. You know who this is. Hey, where's he coming from? What time is he coming from? Yeah, but I don't think we're seeing the full picture here at all.
No, I would not be surprised either. Hopefully there's some this is just red herrings. Of course,
hopefully it is. I don't want to know. Yeah. Listen, we said this a few episodes back. I thought that this might be the first time they don't release a trailer. I wish they wouldn't release a trailer. They don't need to release a trailer to hype this up. Everyone's going to go see it. There's a good chance, Ray, based on the trailer numbers, this is going to be the most watched Marvel film of all time. All right, this trailer did better than Infinity War and Endgame trailers. So,
again, this is going to be the kicking off point for the multiverse. Right. Truly the kicking off point for the multiverse, we believe. We'll get into that in a second. By the way, Shang-Chi comes out this weekend. So expect
tonight.
Technically in a few hours from now, yes.
Yeah.
So expect a spoiler cast next week.
Yeah.
If
find a way to see that. If we find a way to see it too.
I was gonna say, the problem, of course, is that it's a shame that it's not on Disney Plus right now, because I would easily I would pay the $30. It would make my life infinitely easier,
right?
To watch it from home. But they did not do that with this one. I'm actually curious to see if that affects the film, if that affects how many people who go see it.
Yeah, I'm a little bit quizzical about that myself. I mean, look, the actors from the film said they didn't want it on streaming. I understand on one hand, this is the first, it's a big deal, obviously, for Asian actors, and that side of the world. It is a huge deal, and I don't want to downplay that. But at the same time, I don't know when we're going to break this kind of thought process of, if it's on streaming, it's not the same. And Seth, if you're still here, Seth, I'd love to get your thoughts on that. But
Patty Jenkins actually came out and said exactly that today. Of course, the director of Wonder Woman and Wonder Woman 84, and kind of blaming the reason why people hated Wonder Woman 84 because they didn't see it on the big screen, and instead of just being the fact that she made a bad film. I think that which of course is typical. That's typical Hollywood, which is just trying to shuffle.
I just don't understand the. Look, I'll say this, okay? I'll use Tom Cruise as an example. Tom Cruise always talks about how much time he puts into a film, how much, it's meant to be seen on a big screen. And I'd love to see the film on a big screen. I want to see Top Gun 2 on a big screen. I really do. But I don't know why we look at home releases like it's 1987 and it's a direct to video Disney film.
Right.
All right. Especially for the amount of money that they're charging. So I don't think it's a big deal personally. All right. I don't know how that money is distributed after they get it, but I mean, why can't we just merge the in theater and at home release time periods into one release? I don't know why that's such a big deal for people. Maybe we're 10 years ahead, Ray. Although we've been saying this for 10 years.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. And I agree. I think do both. Why not do what you did with Black Widow, do both, where a lot of people still went to the theater. But for those of us who would prefer to stay home, who enjoy the convenience of staying home, who rather pay $1.50 for microwavable popcorn than $5 for the same thing in a paper bag.
That would be good right now.
Popcorn
would be good right now. Popcorn would be really good.
Popcorn would be really good.
We should take a 6-minute break and go get. No,
I think I still have.
I like popcorn.
I think I still have some microwavable popcorn here.
JJ says is here. He says that Ray with the beard. That is not a beard, sir. That is just Ray hasn't shaved in a while. This is a beard. What I have on. But
it's not. We're getting there, but we're not. We're probably still another month before we get beard to beard territory. This is
you look
just
good with that,
at
though,
least
right? You look good with that.
Thank you.
Your face.
I didn't wear it for a while because I had a lot of. There's a fair amount. You probably not be able to see here on this camera. There's a fair amount of white coming into it.
You're fine. It shapes your face. You should keep doing it. If Caitlin Reese, our producer, wants to make popcorn and bring it up, I'm not going to say no, but I can't eat too much of it on the air because that would be very, very annoying. For those of you listening, we're sorry for the descriptions of our beards, and we'll continue to move on.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get back to the Marvel universe. As Seth put it in chat, their Spider-Man trailer is out, and people are asking more about my beard. Yeah, no, exactly.
The Spider-Man Seth, we trailer, have that effect on our audience. We can't help it if they want to know.
I mean, we got our regulars are coming in. What's up, JJ? What's up, 31B? We got our regulars coming in now, so that does happen. And of course,
people what they want. Out there. You know this,
and of course, yes. And thank you for everybody listening. And Mike the Bite just popped in. What's up? Thank you, of course, to all our regulars who listen to the podcast, wherever podcasts are heard after the fact. We love you too. So of course, there's the Spider-Man trailer is a big deal. Obviously, we've seen everything that we saw. It's going to be a lot of questions, and of course, it's going to set up Doctor Strange too. The other big rumor that came out this week is that supposedly not in Spider-Man No Way Home, which of course is going to focus mostly on Spider-Man and his universe, and potentially maybe even bridge the gap to the Sony verse or the animated into the Spider-Verse. But supposedly the big rumor this week was that the X-Men, specifically Jean Grey and the Phoenix Force, may show up in Doctor Strange 2. Now, will it be the actors from the other films, the final Fox films? Will it be somebody brand new? I would imagine it'd be somebody brand new would be my guess.
Right.
That's what would be. Yeah, that's what I would do as well. But that could be a big deal. Think about that, folks. We could be 6 months away from the X-Men finally making their MCU debut, and this would be the way to do it. And I think it's a fantastic idea. And again, like Spider-Man and whatever wily weird Doctor Strange is in that film, whether it is actually Doctor Strange or whether it is somebody else in disguise, obviously, that Spider-Man and Doctor Strange 2 are going to be very tightly woven together. These two films are going to piggyback off each other. We know Wanda, not surprisingly, is going to be a big part of Multiverse of Madness. They've already basically said she's going to be the tragic villain of that film. They've already said that, which of course makes no surprise. Is not surprising from considering how WandaVision ended. Will Wanda play any part in Spider-Man or make an appearance towards the end? I would imagine I wouldn't be surprised if she's like the Easter egg at the end.
That's my point. Is that like there's so much not talked about in this trailer, and like I said, I'm kind of watching it right now. Like there's a lot of him and MJ. Like I said, there's just too much here that I don't think is real. The other thing too is that I'm looking at Doctor Strange here. He's still wearing the Eye of Agamotto. Like, why is he wearing that? There's a lot of weird things happening here. Okay. Also, I think we should also keep in mind too that we've seen a few times now, Skrulls and Fury is in outer space. There's a lot going on with the Secret Wars side of things too, that I think is being built as well. So again, if you don't know what Secret Wars are, you can look that up. But yeah, like I said, when he's casting these spells, he still has the Eye of Agamotto on. There's just too much happening here. Not to mention, look, this trailer is insanely disjointed. Like I'd say there are two streams of thought in this trailer of like him and MJ and then him and Doctor Strange, and everything else is just a clip. And then, hello, Peter. which was awesome, by the way. It was great seeing Melina back. But
yes.
Yes, look, I fully expect, if anyone's wondering, fully expect to see all 3 Spider-Men and more in this.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And all the villains from the other films. I do. I mean, we know,
we
know Jamie Foxx is in it. We know these guys are coming back.
Yes. And I believe he has the Eye of Agamotto now, because remember, that's the time stone.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, Cap had to put it back. So it makes sense that he probably just gave that one back to Doctor Strange.
Maybe they won't explain that at all. So that's my point, is that there's a lot of unanswered questions. They teased it, which was fine. They gave us a taste. I just don't think we have any idea what's going to be happening.
So now I also want to believe, now obviously they're obviously setting up the Sinister Six. Again, we got Electro, Sandman, Doc Ock, Green Goblin, Lizard, and I'm going to guess that the 6th is going to be Michael Keaton's Vulture. That's going to be my guess, is that's what's going to happen. And they've kind of hinted at it. A lot of folks are theorizing that basically, actually, the very beginning or the midpoint of the movie is going to be Spidey and Doctor Strange are actually going to get a hold of all these villains from the different universes and imprison them while they figure out what to do with them. And that's when Vulture comes along and be like, we should work together.
So let's name them again, right? Vulture, you thinking Vulture?
So what I'm thinking is so we know from the trailer, Sandman, Lizard, Electro, Doc Ock, Green Goblin. That's 5.
Right.
So the 6th is going to be from Tom Holland's universe, which means to me, it's either got to be Vulture, who we already know is already in prison,
or Venom or Morbius. Yeah.
You could pull somebody from the Sony verse. I don't think they're going to do Morbius yet, because he hasn't been, or Mobius, because he hasn't been set up yet, or Venom. But I think what instead they'll do, and this is part of I think what they're instead going to do is, if not Vulture, they're going to do Scorpion, because they established Mac Gargan in the first Spider-Man film. Right. He just doesn't have his super suit. And how fitting would it be? Because we know J.K. Simmons is coming back as J. Jonah Jameson. We know that in the comics, it's J. Jonah Jameson who creates the Scorpion, because that's how badly he wants to kill Spider-Man. Could you imagine if that's how they have Simmons? His J. Jonah Jameson, again, is the guy who bankrolls the Scorpion suit, and Matt Gargan breaks out of prison, and he's the 6th member of the Sinister Six. I don't think they're going to do that, but I would love if they did. That
would be funny. I mean, again, it's going to be very interesting to see where they go here. But again, I think this is just a massive, teaser trailer. I don't think we're seeing anything that we're going to know. I don't think Marvel's giving you anything. I don't think they're giving you anything that you can piece together. That's not their style. I think they're just giving you enough so you can be like, oh, I want to watch that, which is exactly where we were 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly. So it's gonna be interesting to see. And again, we'll see what happens with Shang-Chi. Again, the theory is also from that trailer that when Wong leaves, there's also the theory that Shang-Chi and Spider-Man No Way Home are happening at the same time, because they think that Wong leaving on vacation is him going to fight Abomination. I don't know how much of that's gonna play out, but we'll see. This again, we don't like you just said, Lee. We really don't know, but they're fun
not to giving you anything. It is fun to speculate, though. But my speculation is they're not giving us anything.
Yeah. So there is that, and again, fun to see the idea possibly of X-Men and Doctor Strange too. And we actually had it was a big week for Doctor Strange. That brings us now into our talk about what if. We got 2 episodes to discuss. And these were 2 of the darker, easily far darker than episodes 1 and 2, where one was really just a recreation of Captain America: The First Avenger with Peggy. And then episode 2 was a much more uplifting episode of, if this happened, the world would actually be a better place, except for maybe Ego kind of maybe destroys everything at the end. But they've already established that I think they've already said it is going to be another episode, if not later this season, later on in the in another season coming on. So that was set up for another episode as well. But this could be set up for the more episodes also. What if episode 3 is basically, what if the Avengers were never formed? There's a serial killer on the loose murdering all the potential candidates for the Avengers. They successfully kill Iron Man. They kill Black Widow. They kill the Hulk. They kill Hawkeye. They kill Thor. And they break it down basically in what's known as Fury's Big Week, which is basically Iron Man 2, Incredible Hulk, and Thor 1. Those 3 films all happen within a week of each other. This is basically that week playing out in a completely different way.
Right.
And again, a spoiler alert, this one in particular has been out for a couple of weeks. So, but basically it's Hank Pym. It's a very angry Hank Pym because in this universe, not only does he lose his wife because of a secret mission from S.H.I.E.L.D. or what become the government agent becomes S.H.I.E.L.D., he also lost his daughter, Hope. And basically so there is no Scott Lang in this universe. I mean, there is, but he's not Ant-Man. He's probably just still a petty thief. And Hank basically becomes Yellow Jacket, and he's the one who goes on this killing spree. And I don't mind spoiling also because it was also, I mean, Lee, let's be honest here. It was pretty obvious who it was.
Extremely obvious. It's extremely obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's some great throwbacks. The Destroyer armor was there. Loki, there's some fun fan theories of basically confirmed, but how they kill the Hulk is how fans were like, well, why don't they just kill Thanos this way by implanting Ant-Man in him and having him and blow up his brain from the inside or his heart, in this case with the Hulk. So they confirmed a fan theory there. They also confirmed the idea that if there were no Avengers, Loki would conquer the Earth in a day because he does. But there's also fun in this other universe where basically the new Avengers is going to be, they're going to unfreeze Cap. Captain Marvel is back. And it kind of does end on a hopeful note. Lee, what were your thoughts on episode 3 of What If?
Yeah, look, it was a tad too predictable. The hint that Black Widow gives before she's taken out is just like, okay, now it's obvious. I'll be honest with you, I didn't particularly enjoy it. I didn't like watching the Avengers die that way, especially when you have so much time invested in them. I didn't think Nick Fury was incredibly engaging in that. Like you weren't really rooting for everybody. You're just kind of like, all right, who is it? Oh, okay, I got it.
What's the whodunit? Yeah.
Yeah. And I was more excited to see Loki than anybody else, to be honest with you. And like I said, it's not one I'm going to rewatch. I'll put it that way. It's just okay.
I think of the 4, I think episode 3 is the weakest of the 4 at this point.
Oh, easily.
Easily. I think of, at this point.
It's easy to rank them right now. It's easy to rank them. Right
yes. Now. Yes. It's very, it to me,
2, 1,
it
4,
goes
3. 2, 1, 4, 3. Easy.
I would go. Yeah, I'd probably go 2, 1, 4, 3.
Yeah.
I think 1 and 4 to me are very much on the same level in my opinion, but for very different reasons.
Yeah.
But 2 is definitely the best, and 3 is definitely the worst. You could flip flop 4 and 1.
Yeah, it depends on your mood.
Yeah. But that leads us to episode 4. And again, speaking of Doctor Strange's big week, this was the darkest episode. But it also means some really big things. It also shows how powerful Doctor Strange can be, because there's a lot that happens here. Basically, in this universe, Doctor Strange does not lose his hands. He loses Christine Palmer, who of course is his true north, his love interest in the Doctor Strange film, another doctor. But in this universe, their relationship is more developed. It's further along, and she is driving with him when he has the accident. Instead of him getting injured, she dies. And that's what prompts him to explore the mystic arts. But then what ends up happening is that he goes down a dark path where he wants to try to bring her back to life. And he finds out that her death is basically a constant. It's one of those points in time that can never be tampered with. Otherwise, basically the universe will end. It's a foundational point of time and space in that universe. And Doctor Strange don't care. He don't care whatsoever. And what ends up happening is this amazing, there's a quick battle, not even a battle really, between the Ancient One, which of course Tilda Swinton, everybody came. What was nice about this episode, this is the first episode where everybody did come back.
Right.
Everybody came back. Rachel McAdams, Benedict Cumberbatch, Tilda Swinton, everybody who was already established, every voice actor in this was the person who played them in the films, which by the way, episode 3 had the least amount of people come back. So that was also an interesting flip about there.
I think that might have something to do with why it wasn't so great too.
That's also true. I think in some instances you could clearly tell who was the actual voice actor and who was not. There's in episode 3, there was no RDJ, there was no Scarlett Johansson, no Brie Wilson, no Brie, no William Hurt, no Liv Tyler, none of those characters came back. But in this one, everybody came back. Benedict Cumberbatch was amazing because what ends up happening is he becomes what they call Strange Supreme. And he is a dark version of himself.
But
he ends up fight.
He becomes the most powerful being in the universe, is what he becomes.
Yes.
You know,
and what ends up happening is by doing that, he does end up saving Christine Palmer, but he also becomes the only being in the universe because it does destroy the universe. And he has this really poignant interaction. He becomes so powerful, he can see the Watcher without the Watcher willingly showing himself to him. And he's like, "You're a god." He's like, "No, I'm not. I am a cosmic being, but that does not mean I am not a god, and I cannot save this universe. I cannot undo, even if I wanted to, I cannot undo what you have done here." Which makes you wonder if this evil Doctor Strange, there's even a great battle between a good Doctor Strange and an evil Doctor Strange, because the Ancient One does this thing where she splits the two halves to try and save the universe, and he doesn't matter. So Strange Supreme wipes the floor with him. You wonder if Strange Supreme, now being so powerful, does he appear in Multiverse of Madness?
Well, he
does
exists,
he appear?
Right? He still exists inside of I guess a cocoon of some sort. He exists in eternity. The other thing too is we don't know when he exists. I think that's something important. So I think if you do see him ever again, it's going to be almost a flyby of like, "Who's that? Don't worry about it," kind of thing. You know, but in imprisonment,
don't talk to him.
His own mind. Yeah. But look, Doctor Strange does become the most powerful being in the entire universe in this, and by using a few things: power from the dark dimension. All right, he brings out things from the dark dimension. Really, the first time we've really dove into that much. So again, we've seen in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, we see a being from another dimension. We saw this in the first episode with Agent Carter. We saw a being from the dark dimension.
Yeah, another tentacle monster. Which again, I'm wondering: is it Shuma Gorath, or is it just that somebody who does what the showrunner really loves tentacle monsters?
They've touched on it twice, so I'm wondering if there's a bigger theme here. Also, really need to note that the Watcher was given some real time in this. All right, and the fact that Strange Supreme could see him, tells you something. Like they're unveiling that character a bit more too. Like that was the first time we really saw him, if you really think about it. So I think that character is going to have a bigger role to play in this show than we probably think. Right? Like,
it goes back to a theory that we had in episode 1, where are they setting it up? There is a comic book line where the Watcher does finally interfere, and then the cosmic beings of the universe strip him of his power because that's not his job. But he becomes so enamored with the people of Earth and the stories of Earth and the various timelines of Earth, and he ends up getting forgiving like later on and stuff. But like for a time, he loses his powers and he's no longer a cosmic being. He's just a weird 10-foot tall, bald alien guy. But he's stripped of all his powers because he does interfere, and you wonder if they're setting that up for potential films. And again, Fantastic Four. When I say it, Fantastic Four.
It's important that we remember here that the multiverse has an infinite number of possibilities. You have to really wrap your head around that. Okay, and that's something that didn't exist before the Sacred Timeline was destroyed in Loki, or at least not in the time period we've been with Marvel. So it's very interesting to see where this may go, where the Watcher may go. Are we going to revisit some of these stories? I don't think we will, more than, like you said, a flyby. I don't think they're going to focus on any of these stories. But very interesting the way they're dealing with the Watcher. It makes me wonder too. I wonder if we're going to see Kang in the show at some point, or a version of him. Yeah, it would make perfect sense for them to show another Kang and just to keep touching on Kang over and over and over again. Yeah. But again, we'll see. What I like about what they've done here, my final thought on this is that, it took all of phase 1 for us to be introduced to Thanos for the first time. And then we had to wait 2 more phases to see his demise. I like that they have reversed it. Here it's Kang. Here's Kang. You know who it is. There's just an infinite amount of them. Yeah. So have fun on the ride. Please keep your hands and feet inside the vehicle at all times. Yes. And that's the wrong universe.
Yeah, but still. Speaking of the Watcher, though, one last thing. He does say something very poignant at the end, which also really, to me, again, leans into Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, which is meddling with time and events only leads to more destruction. Right. And that is basically exactly what Spider-Man wants to do in No Way Home. And I think that movie's going to have we're going to hit a very dark period in Marvel I would say starting with Spider-Man and then Doctor Strange 2. And you may not like it, folks, but I think some folks are going to die.
Yeah.
I think I don't know who, but I think we're going to have some permadeath coming up here soon. And I think there's going to be some real ramifications coming up.
By permadeath, we mean until they come back from another dimension.
Until they come back from another universe. Yeah. But
Right.
some people, there's going to be some things happening here that is going to be, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens over the next several films and really the next 6 months. Again, it starts with Shang-Chi tonight.
I have no idea how I'm going to go see that. I have no idea.
Maybe I can go Sunday. I'm trying to think.
Don't tell me.
I'll worry about it later.
Worry about it later. We're live.
We're live. We'll do it live. A couple other things though coming out from Marvel. I don't know if we talked about it. We talked about the trailer, but officially now, Star Wars Visions starts actually sooner than I thought. September 22nd.
Right.
So that's already the first episode of that drops in 3 weeks.
A lot of hype around Boba Fett. A lot of hype around the book of Boba Fett. Been reading a character is going to show up there. I've been reading a lot about characters showing up there. I'm really thinking that Omega from Clone Force 99 is going to be showing up, also known as the Bad Batch. A lot of good rumors about the Mandalorian season 3. Star Wars season's coming. I won't jump into it too much now because I'm going to have plenty of fun. But for those of you who don't know, Star Wars season is my favorite time of the year, and it looks like it's going to get extended quite a bit. So
so Star Wars Vision, September 22nd.
Star Wars is my specialty.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it that soon, but that's a pleasant surprise that that's the date they slapped on.
That will kick off Star Wars season.
That will officially kick, because that will lead right into Book of Boba Fett. Yeah, right. Like because that'll take us to December,
and then Boba Fett will lead us right into the Mandalorian and whatever other shows.
In theory,
I would not be surprised that we have year-round Star Wars soon.
I think that's fair. I think it's very fair.
We're looking at.
Yeah. Now that we're coming out of, or at least Hollywood's coming out of COVID in terms of productions being able to be ramped up.
Right.
Of course, with all safety precautions taken and whatnot, and people being vaccinated and things like that. But production in Hollywood is starting to ramp back up to a normal efficiency, and thus, you could churn out Star Wars year round, much like we're starting to see. I mean, some of it, of course, was in the can already, but we're starting to see Marvel year round, right? With the shows on Disney Plus, and then of course, we're getting 4 movies. Don't forget about the Eternals in November. 4 movies in 6 months. So that's a lot.
It's a lot.
That's a lot, folks.
With more coming. Yeah.
With a lot more coming. Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting to see. And that's not even counting Venom 2, which who knows what's gonna happen with that. That's
coming 2037. Now. Yeah. Anytime now.
Yeah, I know. There are rumors that's gonna get delayed again. And if it gets delayed again, I think that movie's in a lot of trouble. I think Sony's in a lot of trouble.
I did see Venom 1. I did watch Venom 1. It was okay. It was just okay. It wasn't great.
Yeah.
Venom 2, it's one of those things. The second one could very well be much better than the first. But it was just okay. I didn't hate that I watched it. But I didn't do it in one sitting. I did it in a couple sittings, and I had things to do. And as a comic traditionalist, there's things that are going to really annoy you. There's also things that are like, oh, that was cool. That's a cool take. That's cool how they did this. And I'll be honest, Venom and Tom Hardy.
Yeah, Tom Hardy. Yeah.
They're really good together. Like that mix works, but the script sucked. I don't know how else to say it. I'll tell you. You want me to spoil a little bit of it, or no? I'll let you watch.
No, I'll watch it soon. I'll watch it before Venom 2 comes out, whether it's on Hulu or.
I think you should watch it. Again, the moments that are good are worth the moments that are good. I'll tell you that, but it's not hard for me. It's not going to get a rewatch. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, goodness. Yeah. So that's it for our movies and TV section for the week. Oh, actually, what also came out, I'll be very quickly, because I probably Seth did mention it, of course. Cobra Kai already got to get season 5 before season 4 even debuted.
Not surprised.
So that was a big deal, of course, coming out in December. And also need to mention the great Ed Asner passed away this week at 91 years old. Of course, he played Johnny's stepfather in that series, but of course has been around since Mary Tyler Moore and has done the voice of Granny Goodness and J. Jonah Jameson and is just his geek roots are deep, folks, and of course plays the old man in Up and so many great films and movies and TV shows, and what a terrific actor and a very good guy. Everyone, a lot of stories came out about his generosity that like kind of were unsung while he was alive, and like everybody was like, no, he did this and he did this and all this other stuff, and to just which even shows how much like Keanu Reeves a lot of times, like you don't hear the stories about like some of these really good guys in Hollywood and the good things they do. Ed Asner was one of those guys, as we're now finding out after the fact. So rest in peace to one of the all-time greats. That said, now we will move on from Hollywood to Cologne, Germany. As last week or a week and a half ago was Gamescom, or at least virtual Gamescom. Of course, Gamescom is basically like the Europe version of E3. It's the biggest video game convention in Europe every year. I've gone there several times. It is, wow. By the way, German efficiency at its finest. Germany knows how to do a convention. Let me tell you, folks. I wish more conventions were like how Germany did them. But anyway, Gamescom, Microsoft won again. No surprise. Sony seems to be holding back all their best stuff for Tokyo Game Show, which makes sense. That's their home turf. But as these things continue to go on, Microsoft had a lot of big announcements, a lot of big indies, some reboots, a lot of other stuff coming. It was a solid reveal show. A couple of really interesting games. Midnight Fight Express basically looks like Fight Club, the video game, and I'm all for that. Bushiden is basically looks like a Ninja Gaiden reboot, like, or a love letter to that game. Big news: Xbox is doing its own cloud service. It's already started, and it will be hitting Xbox Series X and Series S consoles this holiday season, which means if you want to play Halo and Game Pass, you can if you have Game Pass and you get this, if you have Game Pass, you get this cloud service for free as part of Game Pass. So now you can just stream Halo as soon as you want, or Halo 6. You don't have to wait for the download. I'm still going to download it. But if you don't have to, if you don't want to, and I think this is a big deal. And I think this is a great way. We've talked about it. Who's going to be the first one through the wall in terms of video games? And surprise, surprise, it might be Microsoft to be like kind of doing it with a Trojan horse, where they're basically like, yeah, we're going to just add this to Game Pass and kind of like ease people into it. Where like, if you want to stream the game now, you can, or have it download in the background and all this other stuff. And I think that Xbox Cloud Gaming, not the doesn't roll off the tongue like I guess Stadia does, but it definitely, I think it's a great idea.
ECG, man. ECG. Yeah, that's what they're gonna call it. You got ECG? Yo, man, you got any of that ECG? XCG? What are you gonna call it?
Yeah, there you go. Extreme Xbox console gaming. There you go. So cloud gaming, I should say. Of course, not console. What the cloud gaming? But yeah, that's going to be
like console, man. Bring it back.
Yeah, it's going to be it's a big thing. Other things, Saints Row is getting a reboot. This had been rumored for months. Good to finally see it in action. It looks like it's taking a bit more of a toned down approach to the ridiculousness of we saw at the end of that series, or the original series. April O'Neil is going to be a playable character
finally in
the new TMNT Shredder's Revenge game, and you get to fight the Rat King, which, by the way, I don't know if anybody noticed in the trailer, but you're fighting with the wreckage of a foot ski in the background, and it's basically an homage to TMNT 4, and it absolutely was. It looks great. Shredder's Revenge looks great. Sad thing is it got delayed to the first half of 2022, but I'd rather them get it right and take their time with it. But looks absolutely fantastic. Before we get into this last game I have mentioned, Lee, do you have any thoughts on the TMNT Shredder's Revenge or Xbox Cloud Gaming? And no, the Saints Row stream on Saints Row it's a great series. Not the Val Kilmer's The Saint, or
which was a great film.
Saints or,
The Saint was a really, really good film. It was a great.
Yeah, it's that film's fault that he wasn't Batman and Batman and Robin, actually.
Really? Well,
that is the little people don't realize that because all right, little tangent here. For those of you who don't know your movie history, basically Warner Brothers wanted to rush out Batman and Robin. They didn't want it to take 3 years like they did between Batman Returns and Batman Forever, because Batman Forever had made them so much money. They thought they had a cash cow on their hands. They didn't, and instead, so they rushed it. One of the other many great problems that, of course, followed Batman and Robin. But because of that, Val Kilmer thought he was going to have 3 years, that it was, Batman and Robin was going to shoot for another year and a half. So he signed on to do The Saint. And what ended up happening was he's like, the Batman and Robin new schedule conflicted with The Saint. And Val Kilmer's like, I can't. I already signed up to do this. You guys originally told me when I became Batman for Batman Forever that 1998, not 1997 was the plan for Batman and Robin. Took this other role. That's why Val Kilmer was not Batman, and they had to get George Clooney in a last minute effort. They had to. And Val Kilmer was supposed to be Batman and Batman and Robin. Fun fact.
Well, it's a good fact, and I'm glad he didn't do it because that movie sucked, and he did a much better film. I've always said this, Ray, that, and this is going to age us, but I always thought the movie The Saint, would have been a great GoldenEye style game. The movie completely lended itself to that style. I was surprised that they never picked it up. They could have totally made a game out of that. I remember when I was a kid, I even made the levels in my head, like what you had to do. And it was just, I think, a missed opportunity. But really, The Saint is a really, really good movie. It still kind of holds up a bit today in terms of the storyline, not so much the technology. But Val Kilmer, I really want to see his film on Amazon, the documentary about him. I've been hearing that's getting really good reviews. So I want to see that. Ray, just going back to cloud gaming, Xbox, I'm not going to say it again, just continually proving what I've been saying for the last year is that they're not making a push to beat PlayStation. They're making a push to take over the entire gaming universe, which they're going to do at this point, unless a major competitor shows up. That major competitor may be Netflix. And I don't think people are looking at them seriously, and they probably should. The other thing
Netflix has said they're going to start adding games soon. As part of their base model subscription.
I think that is actually going to do very well. I think that it's not usually sometimes it's not the players that that are going to be the ones that change things. It's the disruptors that you don't see coming that are going to change things. In terms of Shredder's Revenge, look, I'm really excited to play that game just so I can play with my kids. I'm not going to lie to you. And I hope it comes out very early in 22, probably not early enough for a winter vacation, but love that it's coming out. I love that April O'Neil is a playable character. That'll be cool for my daughter to see. And I just can't wait to play that game. Again, for those who didn't hear the episode, Streets of Rage 4, Streets of Rage period, but Streets of Rage 4 is one of the best side-scrolling fighting games I've ever played. One of the best soundtracks ever. And this game is heavily involved with the same people that brought that to life. So I'm super, super ready for that.
Yeah, no, this looks great. Everything, it looks fantastic. And it sounds like there's going to be a 6th playable character as well. At least that's what they're kind of subtly hinting at.
Splinter?
It's either going to be Splinter or Casey Jones.
Casey.
Right?
I think it'll be Casey Jones. That'll be fun.
Yeah, it's got to be. I would imagine it's going to be Casey, and Splinter gets kidnapped by Shredder again. That's going to be my guess. Or
I made another
Splinter
funny.
After or you get Splinter after you beat the game. I could see that as well. Right.
So one of the things about Streets of Rage 4, I think there was at least 15 extra characters that you can unlock.
There's a whole bunch of extra characters in that.
So I would not be surprised if you get Bebop, Rocksteady. I wouldn't be surprised if you get everybody.
Well, I mean, I think that's what's going to be interesting is going to be, I mean, you could do what they did in Streets of Rage, where you have the old versions. Like you could do like the old sprite versions of the Turtles or whatnot, and still have them be the characters. You got those variations. Caitlin asks in chat, who's the 5th player?
Well, we just answered that. Yeah, look, I'll tell you this too, Ray, is that one of the things. Look, my son played Streets of Rage 4 he got 1 million points to unlock all the characters. And I was like, Logan, that's enough.
Yeah.
we had to switch him to another game, so we put him in Breath of the Wild. A year later, that's done. And now he's on Plants vs. Zombies again. He's all over the place.
Well, that's good. That's the life of a gamer. It's the life of a gamer. But I'm curious to see if they do something like, I don't think they're going to. I think it's going to be 4-player max. But it would be interesting to see if they did something with online co-op. If they did, you could do more. You could do 5 or even 6 players on screen at once. But I think 4. I am confident 4
is the right number. It works with the controllers. It'll be great.
Yeah, no, for sure.
One other game. Awesome. I'm just gonna say the music better be awesome.
I have total faith in these guys. I'm total faith. I think it's gonna be fine, and I think it's gonna be great. And My thought. So there's one other game that I did want to mention. So we talked about the Saints Row reboot. We talked about cloud gaming. We talked about Turtles. This was a big deal. This kind of came out of nowhere. This was a huge surprise for Axis, the guys who are probably best known for the XCOM series and their takes on turn-based strategy, announced they are doing a Marvel game. Not just any Marvel game. They're doing a game called Midnight Suns, which kind of takes a look more at the dark magic and alternate like demons and dimensions and whatnot of the Marvel universe. The main bad guy is the Demon Queen Lilith, who again is a classic Doctor Strange villain, but they showed Wolverine and an amazing looking Ghost Rider, Blade, so many other characters. I'm trying to think like who else there was. Iron Man in a black and white suit, where like they're gonna have these a turn-based Marvel game, strategy based, that's going to take place in this magic, surrounded by magic and the demons and whatnot. And I, for one, cannot wait to learn more about this game. Supposedly, actually, next week we're going to get a full another trailer or like a gameplay reveal, and not just the cinematic trailer. But this looks like, and the player character, it's one of the first time. It's been the first time in a while that Marvel is introducing a new character as the player character. You play as a person called Hunter. You'll be fully customizable, and the idea is you are the child of Lilith that has been trapped, I guess, in a sarcophagus for all of this time or whatever. And it's going to explain your backstory, but they're going to add a character, and you're basically resurrected to go kill your mother with the heroes of the Marvel universe, which of course is also very demon. That's very much in line with most demon storylines. If you look at Nightmare and all those other great characters. So
I like dark storylines in comic books. That's my take.
I am all for this. I thought it was going to be like another Ultimate Alliance or something, the way the trailer was going, but the fact that it's going to be a turn-based strategy game from the guys at 2K and Firaxis, I am intrigued, to say the least, because this could be either a home run or a disaster.
Yeah,
I'm not going to lie, man. Yeah, it's not going to be. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. But speaking of home runs and all that stuff, actually, we got a lot to talk about here, folks, with sports. A lot of bad sports.
Actually, a baseball story I kind of want to talk about for a change.
Yeah, we're gonna kick things off here with the Mets. It's not for anything good. Yeah. What else is new? The epitome of the Mets is that they are a disaster. This is just such a Mets story.
I hope we have a Mets fan listening. I almost want them to defend themselves on this one.
Yeah, just because you can't.
Yeah, well, this is a weird situation where I kind of want to stand up for the Mets fans, but like I don't at the same time.
Basically, and I'm glad they actually responded the way they did. Javi Baez came out and basically said, now for those of you who don't forget by the way, a few years ago the Yankees had a thing where they would go get on base and do a thumbs down, but this was in response to a Rays fan who was mad that the Yankees were beating the Rays, and like it was this very meme-worthy gentleman with a big bushy gray beard and a belly. And you go, so the Yankees would do that to mock opposing fans, right? The fans who would boo them. The Mets decided to take this on, but instead of doing it towards the opposing fans, they're doing it to their own fans because the Mets' feelings were hurt that they're being booed because they're playing terribly and are now 5 games out of first place after being in first place for the whole season. But now they're playing like garbage because they don't know how to play anymore. And Javi Baez, who was traded from the Cubs as an OPS of 268, is putting on the Mets uniform because he's a piece of trash. Where? Look at me. I can play. Look at me. I'm crying. I can play for the Mets now. Where? I don't like being booed. Playing in New York is hard. I don't know what it's like to play in front of fans. What's happening?
Somebody get the ambulance. Get the ambulance for Ray.
Yeah, no, it's seriously Francisco Lindor, Javi Baez, Kevin Pillar. You guys are a bunch of scumbags for booing the fans who booed you, which is their right because you're playing like trash. I said it a few weeks ago. You brought back the black uniforms so you can look like trash bags because you're just a bunch of trash. Now you've confirmed what I said. It has become, the prophecy has come true. The trash has manifested itself at Citi Field, and the Mets continue to stink up all of New York worse than any floodwater ever could.
Well, Ray, I have to take a different take. I have to thank these guys. I got to thank them for all they've done to make the Philadelphia fans look so good in this situation. Yeah. All right. Let me tell you guys something here. First off, the gall of any athlete to boo their home fan base. You must be an entitled piece of crap. That is such an entitled thing. I've never seen that in all of my years. Even when the Yankees fans were going after Roger Maris being horrible, dude's losing his hair, losing his mind, breaking. He did it with class. He did it with complete class. The whole organization did. Mickey Mantle stood up for him. It's more the reporters than anything. They did it with class. All right. Chris Therien, Philadelphia Flyer, former Philadelphia Flyer, really well known in this city, tweeted, this is a professional athlete, tweets, I should read it exactly. Basically said, Ray, you Mets players have got to be kidding me. You didn't even make it in Philadelphia till you've been booed. That's how you know you made it in Philadelphia. This is the most entitled crap I have ever seen. I have I'm trying not to curse right now. No sympathy for them that their fans are booing them for playing bad. You should be booed if you play bad. That is part of being a professional athlete. It's incredible to me that they did that to their own fan base and then defended themselves. Have fun in free agency. Mets, you want to know why you're not winning? Mets organization, you have a crappy culture, and that proved it. You have passionate fans. Ray won't even fight me on this. Even though I don't agree with you guys and you guys whine a lot, you have passionate fans on that side of New York that actually care about your baseball team. All right. And you got players disrespecting those fans. Let me tell you where your paychecks come from, you morons.
Yeah.
The people booing you.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is that for many, many years, Mets fans blamed the Wilpons as the owners. And clearly Steve Cohen is just as bad because this starts at the top and it just flows downhill from the acting general manager to the manager to the players. They all have this entitled attitude, especially Steve Cohen, by the way. I'm a hedge fund manager and I'm going to buy myself the Mets. And look at this. And then on Twitter, by the way, he calls out his team constantly on Twitter, by the way, which what an owner. Wouldn't you want to play for that guy, right? Like, it's just such the whole organization is a mess. There's actually a great article on The Ringer talking about what a disgrace the Mets are from top to bottom as an organization, from the front office to the players on the field. After this is a disgrace. This is another terrible baseball story. As if baseball didn't have enough problems keeping fans around. Now the players are saying get lost.
I might say
unbelievable.
In terms of the business of baseball, this might be the worst season I've ever seen. All right. And I'll say this too. Again, I say it all the time. No baseball fans come back to me and told me why I should love baseball again. It just shows me how bad it is. The other thing too, I said this too. If the attitude is we don't need you, that's a problem too. All right. But
that is a very big problem.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
by the way, I don't know if you guys can see this here, but here was the Daily News. If you're watching the video, the Daily News front page, where basically the Mets tell the fans to go to hell. Look, are you kidding me?
The fans of Philadelphia have done some horrendous things to athletes of our own teams. I've never seen a Philadelphia athlete give the thumbs down or boo the fan base while they were still here. We've had plenty that have run away, complained after they left.
Yes.
On the same field of the Miracle Mets, you did that to your fans, you sick idiots. I hope you all get traded. I'm even pissed off about this one.
Yeah.
You entitled pieces of crap. You know, I look, I'll be the first to say this. Fans have no idea the plight of a professional athlete, what they go through. I'll give that to all the athletes. True. They have no idea what these guys go through. In my entire life, I have never seen an athlete disrespect their own fan base, no matter what's going on. I guarantee you Roger Maris had more going on with his $15,000 paycheck he probably got that year.
Oh, and I was going to say, and he wasn't being compensated nearly what these guys are.
I bet you every hockey player that has post-concussion syndrome, every football player never booed their own fans. Entitled, horrible.
For $25 million a year, you guys can call me whatever you want. Whatever you want.
Like, you can do it for $1 million a year. Are you kidding me? You can do it for $500,000 a year.
Give me the Bobby Bonilla. Give me the Bobby Bonilla. $1 million a year. Right. You can say whatever you want about me for the rest of my life.
All right. Just unbelievably disrespectful to the game, to the fans, to the sport, everything that's wrong with the game. I'm going to say it again, complete entitlement. These are young guys that are just proving that they are one of the worst parts of that generation. I'm not saying the generation's bad, but that was too much.
Yeah.
And they deserve to lose.
The thing too,
as if we didn't need any more reasons to not like the Mets, Ray. My goodness.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is Baez is it's going to be interesting to see because there's two trains of thought here. First off, Francisco Lindor, who did it, he's got to be there the next 10 years. He signed a 10-year contract with the Mets, and it's a massive deal. That is one of those untradeable contracts. That's 34. He's getting $34 million a year. That's an untradeable contract, right? So he's going to have to deal with those fans for a decade. On the other foot is Javi Baez, who is probably a glorified rental acquired at the trade deadline. He will probably not re-sign in New York, but who's going to want to sign him anywhere now, at least at top dollar?
The Brewers.
All he did is hurt his value because no team's going to want that headache.
No, it was stupid. And look, I know teams in the Northeast are overly aggressive, the fan bases compared to the other parts of the country, but another reason to just not watch baseball. I have never seen anyone in any sport do that to their own fan base ever.
Well, and I think too is part of it, especially with Baez. Because you can say, well, he didn't, Lindor came from Cleveland, not a big market team. Whatever you want to say, it's not a big market team. It's the truth.
It's true.
But Baez came from the Cubs. The problem is that Baez was part of the Cubs that broke the curse. Baez will probably nobody in Chicago will ever boo Baez because he's part of that team. Rizzo, Bryant, those guys that were part of that core, they're set for life. So he probably hasn't heard a boo in like 6 years. He's not used to it. He's pampered. He's taking care of. He's Chicago royalty. Comes to New York where he's done absolutely jack, and now he had a real rude wake up call, and clearly he can't handle it.
I believe the other quote was, "Well, you're not going to cheer us when we're losing, so you can't cheer us when we're winning." That's how sports works.
Yeah, when you play bad, you get booed. When you play good, you get cheered.
My goodness. Oh,
yeah, God, clearly a moron.
They have a culture problem. They have an identity problem. I'm going to say this. I actually feel kind of bad for the Mets fans with this one because it just makes them look worse than they already are. It's horrible.
Yeah, clearly, a whole
Mets
bunch
fans
of morons.
are the worst. They are just the worst. And yes, so are Philly fans. But you guys are the worst.
Speaking of baseball morons, we got a lot of morons today, folks. A lot of boneheads. This just broke too that Al Leiter and John Smoltz will not be allowed to appear in studio at MLB Network because they are enacting a COVID policy, and those two schmucks refuse to get vaccinated. So they have worked out where they will fill out the remainder of their contract remotely from home. But there's a very good chance that once their contracts are up, that they will not be re-signed, because I'm going to tell you all this also right now, folks. There is no shortage of former baseball players that are looking for on-air jobs. Let me tell you that. But Al Leiter and John Smoltz, which by the way, John Smoltz, maybe this will give him a chance to find a personality. Al Leiter at least has some good insights. John Smoltz, I would rather, I don't know, I'd rather watch paint dry than listen to John Smoltz. But honestly, a couple of morons, and if it leads to you losing your job, well, that's the world we're living in now, right, folks? Like, I mean, look, MLB is a corporation. They have the right to do that, and whether you like it or not, you are an employee. This is to the parameters that are necessary for you to do your job. If you do not apply to those parameters, we'll find somebody else. See you later. Welcome to the free market. Welcome to capitalism. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. That's it.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't want to get deep into this. I don't understand the issue anymore. It's FDA approved.
Yeah.
If it's about your rights or I don't know, man. I'm very interested to fast forward 10, 15, 20 years from now to see how we look back on this time period, because I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of eye rolls and like, oh, what were we doing?
much like everyone who much like we rolled our eyes when we found out about the Spanish flu 100 years ago, and the same thing. It's the same
thing happened. You know what the difference was back then, man? I was reading a little bit about this, is that the message back then was, hey, wear your mask to help your brother, wear the mask to help your neighbor, and they did it.
for the most part. There
Right.
was anti-maskers then too, but not to
this extent.
Not to this extent.
Anyway, look, it's a personal decision. You all have to make it. You have the freedom to do it or to not do it. And businesses and people have the freedom to create consequences for it. That's the and that is why this is the greatest country in the world. It still is. So
there you go. Speaking of moving to our next group of morons, another back to dumb fans. This was interesting. This is our soccer story of the week. French Ligue 1, Nice versus Marseille. For those of you, Nice is one of the most beautiful and also one of the worst cities in France. I had the pleasure of spending 2 months there when I was a younger man, when I wore a younger man's clothes, as Billy Joel would say. And basically, the Nice fans decided to throw trash at one of the players. I believe it was. I don't quote me with this. I believe it was racially motivated. The player in question decided to throw the trash back at the fans, and the fans decided then to rush the field and try to attack the players. This is never okay.
Never.
In fact, I just watched a story. I just watched a story today about how a fan charged the WWE ring once back in, I think it was 2001, and tried to get at Stone Cold Steve Austin. And he was in a rivalry with Triple H at the time. And it was Triple H then broke character and suplexed the fan to save Stone Cold.
There's a video of it.
There's a video out there. Yeah, there's actually video. I think it was what they call a dark match, or a match that was an untelevised match. And it was when Stone Cold was one of his championship runs. And there's a match. Yeah, it shows that Triple H is beating the snot out of the guy. Again, breaking character, because again, this is never okay. No matter what the reason was, this is never okay. I also just watched the documentary Malice at the Palace, which is about the Pacers in Detroit who rushed Ron Artest and all of them going into the stands. It's never okay.
Never right. You don't go.
Never good for you to storm the court, the field. These are people too. And also, not to defend Artest, but also people forget Ron Artest was defending himself. Ron Artest is similarly had stuff thrown at him, specifically a beer cup, and that's when he charged into the stands. It's the same way. The player had trash, a hard bottle thrown at him, and he threw it back. And then the scrum was involved. I think Nice had to end up forfeiting this match, even though it was tied, which of course is the least that the French Ligue could do. But yeah, for every soccer hooligan, for every baseball bum, for every basketball bozo who thinks it's a smart thing to rush the field to try to hurt a player, no matter the reason, you're an idiot and you're a scum of the earth. And
it's illegal.
It's assault. Like it's assault. You're trying to commit assault, basically. And I get that a lot of us, our sports teams, our love of sports is part of a slice of our identity. But it's still just sports. This isn't a world war. This isn't like I don't know how to say this. Like I don't know. It's like it's you're a moron. Whether you're throwing a water bottle in Brooklyn, throwing a beer cup in Detroit, or throwing a bottle in Nice, which again is full of absolute trash people. It just is, folks. I spent 2 months there. There's a lot of them. They're not all bad, but there's a lot of them that are really bad. And again, mostly soccer hooligans. But
that's not the only horrible football story this week, too. I mean, and there's another game over on that side of the world. They had to suspend play for a little bit because there was a racial slur thrown. Yeah, and I guess give the people in the arena credit for stopping the game until it stopped. And the whole crowd was chanting it. So a lot of work to be done in the world and in sports, and a lot of entitled people on this week's episode of Geeks Who Like Sports, or should we say geeks who don't like people that rush the fields of sports.
Yes, don't do that. Speaking of bad weeks in sports, let's talk real quick about Rachel Nichols. For those of you who don't know, the basketball reporter for ESPN basically came out because she basically
I worked with Rachel Nichols when she was at CSTV, which is now CBS College Sports. She was just starting out at that time.
Yeah. She's going to have to start all over again because she's been terminated from ESPN. For those of you who don't know, of course, I think it was Maria Taylor, who she basically said was a quote unquote token hire for her position. And she, I guess, saw as competition for her role as one of the ESPN's premier basketball reporters. And basically, I mean, led to her show being canceled. She lost her job. She lost all her gigs. ESPN cut ties with her immediately. Doesn't matter who her mother-in-law is, which is Diane Sawyer, by the way, which is why people think why she got the job at ESPN to begin with. But that's neither here nor there. I mean, again, it's just proof that we need to do better. Everybody needs to do better. And this is just unacceptable. She felt threatened for some reason, I guess, for her gig, and then to come out and say something nasty about her coworker.
Right. I think it is important that we mention here, Ray, that she didn't come out and say it. She was, I'm not saying what she said is okay.
It was leaked.
Yeah. She was recorded in a private room, in a private situation without her consent, where this was said. I got to reiterate this. That does not make it okay. I'm not saying what she said was fine. There's a lot worse things that could have been said. So I don't want to make it sound like this is the end of the world, but that is a problem too, that she was privately recorded without her will, and that was brought to light. I have a problem with that as much as I have a problem with what she said. I just want to make sure we
that is true. That is true. That is, I mean, it's almost like, I mean, I hate to bring this up for those of you who remember this, when Hulk Hogan got canceled because he said the N-word in his sex tape.
Right.
Or what he thought, I guess, or he thought the end of the tape had been stopped being recorded or whatever. I don't remember, but like, it's not acceptable. It's not good. Yeah. It's not forgivable, but there is also something to be said about the privacy of one's own home. And I don't know, but ESPN to me did the only thing ESPN did the only thing they could do in that scenario.
They had no choice.
Yeah.
And that's where Rachel Nichols has to live with her consequences. I like I said, you can have both sides be wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, like that doesn't, you know, again, I've always said the problem with the world today, in my eyes, is that everybody has this black or white. I'm not talking color of the skin, just attitude of it. You're either right or you're wrong, or you're black or you're white. And it's like, there's just rarely a situation. And I mean this, and like, I'm going to say that it exists. There are rarely a situation where someone is actually 100% right and someone 100% wrong, or it's 100% black and 100% white. Yeah, there's always gray area. I was reading the other day that even in most arguments, you know, no one's 100% right.
Right.
The most you get is maybe 80%, but the other person probably has something that makes sense. So it's not realistic. It's not realistic. Okay. The only thing that's black and white is sports, because you have a winner and a loser usually. And even then people could say, we would have won if this, we would have won if that. It's skewed our ability to see reality. And we're so tied into the winning and losing, or my party, your party, we can't even take the second to see the middle ground. And that's the big problem.
Yeah.
That's the big problem, I think, that's happening. When we learn to stop doing that, and you can thank mass media and social media for doing it. When we learn to utilize these technologies a little bit better, and we can start seeing the gray area again, which, by the way, we did very well in this country for a very long time. All right. Things will start to go a different direction again. Have a conversation with someone you disagree with. You'll be better for it. And don't just try to prove them wrong or prove yourself right. Listen as much as you speak. And it's okay to shake hands afterwards and say, I disagree with you. But we got to stop this crap with just wrong. You're wrong. You're fired. It's just, oh my goodness gracious me. There are real racists in the world. I don't think Rachel Nichols is one of them. Doesn't make it okay with what she said.
No.
That's the hill we're going to die on, is ESPN's moral high ground. Jeez.
Well, ESPN, unfortunately, this was not the only bad thing to happen to ESPN.
No, they had a double whammy week because they're idiots.
Yeah.
This one I can't believe. This next story blows my mind.
This is on them. This one is definitely on them.
Someone got
for those of you who haven't heard,
someone better have gotten fired for this.
Yeah, they're of course ESPN. This has been going even when I worked there. ESPN has been really trying to push high school sports, and it's good. It's to kind of shine a brighter light on these guys who will probably go on to be college stars, even potentially one day stars in the big leagues. And there's this one supposed high school that was supposed to be one of the best in the nation, or at least that's what their hype video was about, and that their PR campaign was about, called Bishop Sycamore. And it basically Bishop Sycamore, folks. Bottom line is Bishop Sycamore doesn't exist. It's an online high school or something, and that they did not have a football team, and basically just got a bunch of guys together who weren't even high school age, by the way. Some of them were older than high school age, and they got trounced by one of the best actual high schools in the nation, to the point where, in the beginning of the end of the second quarter, the ESPN announcers said, I don't know who in our, basically, I'm paraphrasing, not who in our scouting reporting guys saw this. I don't think we did our due diligence here, but these guys are not football ready. And there's now a bigger chance of somebody being hurt here than there actually being a good game here. And I think they lost 58-0, I think was the final.
It was really bad.
It was an embarrassment. And this is, folks, this is just basic due diligence. If you're any kind of a journalist, how did nobody do any research to see what is going on at this Bishop Sycamore school? With one of the producers of the broadcast, one of the executive producers, whoever's running the high school broadcast, to the point where your on-air talent, who should do some research themselves, but obviously you have producers there. There's a full team behind them to also do prep. Nobody even Googled this place to see that it's an online school without a football program, and that they were basically just trying to get ESPN to bite. And the morons did it. I'm flabbergasted, honestly, at the failure of basic journalistic principles here at ESPN. But I guess I really shouldn't be, because this has kind of been the way ESPN's going now for years. Most people, they just haven't been caught messing up like this. Lee, what are your thoughts?
What are my thoughts on this? Worldwide leader in sports. The worldwide leader in sports could not do the most basic of vetting for one of their live broadcasts. We need to wake up, sports people. Ray and I have worked in sports, professional sports, collegiate sports, all of the sports levels, in broadcasting and athletics. Where is the standard? Ray, I'm not going to put this in a soapbox thing. I'm just going to say what I say every few weeks. Where is the darn, because we're on Twitch, where is the leadership from anything today? Where are our leaders? We have no leaders. None. Yeah. You know the best leader this country has right now?
Me.
No, absolutely not. That is not on my list of 10 at all. It's not what I was thinking. You know, I'm serious. People can think I'm joking here. You know the best leader we have right now is, and I'm not kidding, Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne Johnson is the best leader we have in this country. There's only one of the very few, from a celebrity standpoint, sparkles of light we have right now in this country. There's heroes everywhere. The United States military, I will always say that you're my heroes. But we have no leadership right now anywhere in this country, and it's been like that for a while. At the top levels. I'm not talking that, I'm not trying to knock leaders. Look around you. Tell me who the leaders are right now in the United States of America. Don't have any. They don't have any ESPN either.
Clearly not.
We need some leaders here.
And this is something, and we've talked about this privately, but every job I think I've had since, I would say maybe there was maybe a couple at PLJ. Whether you thought they were going the right thing or not is different, but they had those leadership qualities. But I would definitely say, since my life at ESPN back in 2008 on, it's been 13 years, folks. I haven't had a gig where there's been like some true leadership, or true leaders, and it's definitely. And by the way, every time I try to step up, I've been shut down. That's the other thing too. People who aren't leaders and are in power are scared constantly of losing that power. That is also a truth.
Yeah. Well, that's another problem with our society is we have a backwards ass system when it comes to leadership.
A lot of folks fail upwards. A lot of folks.
Yeah. Look, you know where the leaders are, Ray. Unfortunately, they're not there. It might be some of you listening to this program tonight. It's the younger audience here. You need to lead. You need to take us someplace better than we're at right now. It's not going to come from us.
Yeah.
All right. Ray and I are pushing 40, and anything above us, it's not coming from us.
Yep.
Learn how to be a leader. Learn how to be a person that can lead other people. Be a servant leader. Be someone that the people that underneath you that you lead, you serve them, because that is the trick to the whole thing. All right. It's not the country. It's not the Constitution. Everything that this country is founded on in terms of that stuff is actually pretty good. But when it comes to everything else we talk about, race, religion, creed, money, everything, we need leaders, and we don't have them right now. All right. Yep. The system is there to work if you get the right leader in place. All right.
Much like the Mets organization, the crap starts at the top and just goes and just slides downhill. And unfortunately, like Lee said, our generation is kind of swimming in it. So I think it's going to take some other folks that will help. But grab a shovel, folks. It's time to start digging our way out.
Our generation is going to hold in the car as it's come down. We're like, help. Yeah. That's what I feel like. That's why I'm training my children to take over the world.
Yeah. That's I look forward to that. Just make sure, all Uncle Ray wants is just like a shack in the woods where he gets great internet so he can play his games. That's all I want.
You won't need internet at that point.
That's probably true. I'll get like an implant.
You'll have the chip.
One of the Elon Musk implants. Yeah.
Ray, exactly. Do you know? I can't wait till it's like, what's 6,637 times 4,437? You're like,
yeah.
The chip told me.
Like, of course.
Wow.
Computer in my brain. I Googled it.
Wow. You can really dance.
Yes.
No, keep going.
So that's it for ESPN. So now moving into, we've got some more boneheads here, but moving into football, we do have some stuff. We have some interesting news from football. Of course, the 53-man rosters have been solidified. There were some interesting moves. Probably the two most interesting. I'm actually going to start with the bonehead so we can smoothly transition. Is Dan Campbell in Detroit has decided to cut all his kickers. Decided to cut all his kickers. He doesn't know if he's going to sign a kicker, but his idea is that at this point, we're going for 2 after every touchdown. Sometimes you need a last-minute field goal just to put you over the top. And I don't mind going for 2 a little more often than not, but Detroit, you might need a kicker, and you might have made a mistake with this head coaching hire. At the last second, as we were recording this, last I saw, Detroit did not have a kicker on the roster. They had a punter, but they did not have a proper place kicker. That is a problem. Now, maybe they'll make a move. Maybe they're still trying to figure out the 9th offensive lineman they should cut or whatever. Maybe they're trying to figure it out still. Detroit, I really think you would move Detroit to have a place kicker on your roster.
How hard is it to find a kicker? I mean, look, people thought it was really hard to find a kicker. It's got to be really hard. It can't be that hard. It can't be that hard to find a kicker.
You go hire a soccer player.
Anyone.
There's actually a lot of college soccer players who could turn into great pro kickers.
I'm surprised there are not. Look,
there have been women kickers. Yeah, there have been women kickers.
It's like that guy, the long snapper, the guy that was just never played football in his life, and he just learned how to long snap, and he got hired as a long snapper because it's like one of those positions. Like, I'm not saying there's a lack of kickers out there, but there's actually, that's what I'm saying. There isn't a lack of kickers out there. Yeah. Go find one.
Each team, there's only 32 NFL teams. There's 32 kickers out there.
Yeah.
I promise you.
I bet you there's more.
I'm sure there's a lot more. But this was the bonehead. This is one of the many questionable decisions of the week.
Screw it. Go for 2. Maybe you'll find a new way to play the game.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, look, it's not like Detroit could lose any more, right? So it is what it is.
They haven't been what? They haven't been relevant in 10 years?
Has Detroit ever really been relevant?
Megatron, there were some good seasons in there, but
that's true. They had a couple of runs there,
like 10 years ago.
Yeah, they had that 9-7 year or whatever where they lost in the wild card round, but Yeah, it was questionable. Other cuts. We had some quarterbacks cut this week, most notably Cam Newton of the Patriots. Supposedly there was some dissent in the locker room. Supposedly, again, kind of going back to what we were mentioning earlier with COVID, supposedly Cam was adamant about not getting vaccinated, and he might have gotten it again. That is not confirmed or denied, but that there is rumors that was part of the reason why Bill decided to finally pull the plug on him.
Belichick doesn't
he missed
mess
a lot
around.
of time.
He
missed a lot of time last year with COVID. And also, again, by the way, we also talked about this a few weeks ago. The NFL has the rules where if there's a COVID outbreak on your team and you can't play and it's traced back to you, your team forfeits if they can't reschedule. You think Belichick is going to give up a game because of a forfeit?
We're on the next quarterback. We're on the next quarterback.
Yeah. No, exactly. So that's
I will find another no name and turn him into the greatest quarterback of all time. You watch.
Yeah. So and honestly, this guy Mac Jones looks really, really good.
Right.
So that's the thing too. Bill was like, he's playing well, and you're a liability. Bye-bye.
Right. No, I'm not trying to stir it up here, but Daniel Jones or him, Ray? I mean, it's
Cam Newton or Mac Jones?
Who would you rather have Cam Newton in the New York Giants? Would you take it? It's a fair question to ask you right now.
At this point, no. Actually, I like Glennon. I like the fact that they got Glennon as the backup right now. I like him. I think he'll be starting by week 6 because I think
New York is known for backups coming in and doing amazing things in multiple sports.
Yeah.
The starter gets injured, the backup comes in, has a full career.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, Mike Glennon, who's been a bit of a journeyman, but I think I would rather at this point. I'm going to say right now, I think Daniel Jones is going to get hurt again because the offensive line. I watched very little preseason football, but what I saw made my stomach turn. I watched very little.
Are we going to talk about the Minshew dynasty?
We were going to get to that. I guess I've got a bunch of quarterbacks.
All right, I'll let you go. I love the Minshew dynasty. We got to talk.
I know you do. Okay, fine. We'll go to the Minshew dynasty. Minshew's now in Philadelphia after a trade.
Gardner Minshew. I just love to say that guy's name.
Yeah, he is now a Philadelphia
Minshew
Eagle.
He is.
He is your backup quarterback. He's a very viable backup.
We have a lot of backups. We have a few backups now.
Yeah.
The Philadelphia Eagles quarterback situation is extremely interesting. Although Jalen Hurts is the starter, that's been clear. But we have depth at that position, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But I think Minshew right now has been brought in to be your primary backup, which means, we already knew Trevor Lawrence was the guy in Jacksonville. But if something happens to Trevor Lawrence, that team is definitely done.
Definitely done.
Honestly, I don't think the Jags are winning more than 5 games this year anyway. But
so Ray, real quick,
get used to losing, kid.
I want to take a quick sports break. Tidy Screens is in here saying he just saw Shang-Chi.
I know, that's why I'm ignoring him.
Do not give any spoilers. Do not give any spoilers. But I need a thumbs up or thumbs down, 0 to 10. Do not tell us anything about the film except you liked it or you didn't like it or something like that. I wasn't
right now, Tidy.
Yeah.
Insta-ban. You spoil it, insta-ban.
Right.
I'm
not worried. I'm trusting him because he was going to do it either way, right? Whether we brought it up or not.
I don't trust him. He's an Astros fan. I don't trust him.
He doesn't trust the Astros fans. So Tidy Screens, this is your chance when you write the answer. Just need to know if it was good or bad. Do not spoil the film. I will insta-ban you as well. I have the power.
Yeah, we've got mods in here tonight. Everybody's ready to go.
Yeah. Fingers on the button. This is great. Now everybody listening is like, oh, is he going to do it? You better not do it because we won't read it if you do it, just so you know. Anyway, we'll come back to that. Tidy Screens. Let us know thumbs up, thumbs down on the film. Taking that care of that now. All right, back to sports. Yeah, Eagles looking really good.
In the Giants or not, the Giants offensive line is in absolute shambles. I like Mike Glennon as our backup, much better than Colt McCoy, that's for sure. And Daniel Jones looks like the usual, looks like he's a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
So I'm really worried for the New York Giants this year. I was worried weeks ago when they had to fight the scrum in practice.
Right.
This is a team.
Lightsaber to the head. Who's winning the NFC East right now in your mind? And don't just
Dallas Cowboys.
You really think that?
I really think. I think if Dak stays healthy, I think it's the Dallas Cowboys division to lose.
That's fair.
I mean, they were on pace. He was on pace to set all kinds of offensive records until the Giants broke his ankle last year.
It's true.
So, I mean, like, I think Washington will be about 500 again. I think the Giants and Eagles will fight for the basement.
Really? You think the Eagles are going to be that rough?
I think we're both going to, I think both of us will probably have only 5 or 6 wins.
Really? Wow.
I honestly believe
Interesting.
that. Yeah. Yeah. So,
well, look, just so everybody knows, Tidy can't ruin the film because he left the chat room.
So he ran away. He ran away not to spoil it. Fantastic.
He knows us. That's the geek power prevailing once again.
Yes. So there you go. Also, real quick note going back to Cam Newton. Josh Allen now at the age of 25 is the oldest quarterback in the AFC East. I just thought that was a fun fact. Yeah, because everybody's got basically rookies or second-year guys, and Josh Allen now going into his 4th year is now the wily veteran of the AFC East. Because you got Tua in Miami, you got the rookie what's his face for the Jets they just drafted, and then the Patriots now also Mac Jones, another rookie. So you got 2 rookies, a second-year guy, and then the 4th-year guy. I
just want it to be known,
Josh Allen.
There's about a 25-year difference between the youngest quarterback and the oldest quarterback in the league, which is incredible when you think about it.
Almost Tom Brady. That's very true. That's almost.
Yeah.
Another young quarterback who got cut. I'm only bringing this up because people love talking about this stupid freaking meme with Trace McSorley. Well, Trace McSorley and also Ben DiNucci, by the way, also got cut. All these meme quarterbacks, they're all looking for jobs. They all got cut. Dallas cut Ben DiNucci and Baltimore cut Trace McSorley.
XFL.
Maybe.
CFL.
But yeah, that's also possible. I mean, look, Trace McSorley was a winner at Penn, I think it was Penn State he went to. Like there's no denying his college success, but also he's not going to supplant Lamar Jackson, no matter how many bouts of code he has in Baltimore. Maybe he'll go down to find a job in Jacksonville. I don't know. I hear they might need a backup at this point, but so it'd be interesting to see. Final story again. We kind of, I guess, come full circle with the show. Our thoughts and prayers will also go out. The New Orleans Saints are going to be playing in Texas, at least for the first month of the season, of course, as they rebuild there in New Orleans, just to mention that again. So yeah, if you can donate to the Red Cross, donate to any the organizations like that can help out. Because they're rebuilding again on they got hit the 16th anniversary of Katrina. They got hit again. They got hit bad. Fortunately, it seemed like they learned their lessons. At least, obviously, there's obviously a lot of destruction down there, but the horror stories of Katrina have not been repeated, at least from what I've seen. So, So again, to the Saints who have been minorly inconvenienced, still have to play in Texas. But it'll be a big deal when they go back to New Orleans at the beginning of October, much like it was a big deal when the Saints went back the first time after Katrina. That's a city that loves their football, New Orleans, and loves their football team. And it is going to be a great thing to see that city rally again around their team, similar to how the city of New York rallied around the Yankees and Mets after 9/11. It's sports. We talk about it. We sometimes we rally about it again, the black and white, and how nice it divides us. Sports can also bring us together in the best ways. And I think that football is going to be a great thing to help heal that city again. So just wanted to mention that as well as our final football story of the day. So that brings us to Lee. Do we have a mashup this week?
Check your text, Ray. I came up with another great question of the week. We'll see if you like. So I'll give you guys live play-by-play. Ray's reading his text right now. I put the question of the week in his text because naturally I only come up with these during the episode. He's looking back at me now. He looks intrigued. He's laughing. He likes the question, ladies and gentlemen. He wants to take part. Therefore, I will give you back to your host, Raymond Carcillo.
Which character in a game would you want as a playable character in the main timeline?
Yes. So what I mean by that is like it can't be like Super Smash Brothers where some of them actually exist. Right. And the thing is, we have to go back on this one because so many characters are playable nowadays that you have to go back in time to a game where maybe they weren't.
Okay, so you're talking about characters in games that aren't playable, but you want them to be playable.
Yeah, I'll give you like an obvious example, right? Like Zelda or Sheik. Like you never get to play as Zelda or Sheik in the games. Right,
in a proper Zelda game.
Yes.
You never get
in Zelda, you never play as Zelda.
Right. That's very Yeah, I know. I still, it's always funny having to correct people where people are like, oh yeah, I play that game with the elf boy Zelda. Like, what?
Right.
No,
that would be the consummate one, right? Yeah.
That is a good one. I'm trying. Oh, that's a good question.
Now, Mario Brothers kind of fixed this with Mario Brothers 2 with Toad, because Toad would have been my answer.
I was gonna say, like, I mean, and yeah, like you mentioned like Smash Brothers is that's an interesting one. Even recently, like Mega Man had it where Roll and Proto Man were playable in the most recent ones. Caitlin and Chad
got a good answer. That's a good answer.
Zazu in the Lion King game. That's an interesting one. That would make it a lot easier because he can fly through a lot of those platforming levels. That would make it very easy.
That game was very
sure. I beat that game.
Yeah, it was hard.
I was very proud when I beat it.
You should be.
It was a very hard game, and I was very proud when I beat that game. I took that Super Nintendo cartridge to school. Of course, there was honestly the entire game. There was always 2 or 3 jumps that were super hard. If I made those jumps, I finished the run. But it was always just 2 or 3 jumps that were like, sometimes I called them leaps of faith, because you're just like, you're right on the edge and you got to be pixel perfect. I don't know if I could do that again today because I'm old and my reflexes suck. But like back in the day, yeah, it's true, folks. Once you reach a certain age, even my Twitch reflexes start to dull. So as I've been buying time here, yeah,
I want to play as
trying to buy time.
I'll play as the referee in any sports game.
There you go. That could be fun. Yeah, gosh, I'm trying to think. Play as Madden in John Madden football.
That would be good. That's a good question, right? There's a lot of games. Here's a question for you. I don't think you ever get to play. I might be very wrong. I don't think you ever actually get to play as Tails in a Sonic game. I think he just follows what you do.
I think in the most recent ones, there is an option. I think in Sonic and Knuckles you could. I think you could alternate. But I mean, obviously you play Sonic and Knuckles in Sonic and Knuckles. But I think
what you got to do is you got to go kind of like way back and really start thinking about the N64 games, or even before that, Super Nintendo. Yeah. Like I said, Zelda's the obvious answer, right? You never get to play as Zelda or Sheik. Sheik would have been a cool character to play as, like, especially in Ocarina of Time. They could have done something cool with that. But yeah, it's a tough question. That's why I come up with tough questions. The hard-hitting questions, I do what ESPN doesn't do. I come up with the hard-hitting questions that are vetted, that need a good answer.
Yeah. Caitlin wants to just play as the eye Tetramino in Tetris. She wants to play as Pinky
in the Brain. Yeah.
Was there a Pinky in the Brain game?
There was. Yeah, it was on Sega.
I didn't play that one. I missed that one. There was also what plays one of the ghosts in Pac-Man. I was going to say, are you talking about the ghosts in Pac-Man? Yeah. So there we go. I was like Pinky. I was like, yeah. See, you and Pinky in the Brain. I didn't even know there was a Pinky in the Brain game. But
I'm looking at. I'm going to double check. I remember playing something like that. It might have been like Pinky,
or maybe an Animaniacs game, and that might have been like part of it.
Saying. I think they showed up in a game.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Pinky.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Pinky in the Brain. The master plan. It was on Game Boy. That's why Game Boy Advance.
There you go.
It did exist though.
How about playing as a foot soldier in Ninja Turtles?
That would be pretty different, right?
That would be, yeah. Huh. This is a good one.
Yeah, I come up with the good ones. This is stuff I'm just glad I wasn't wrong about the Pinky in the Brain game.
Yeah.
Play as Mr. Burns in any Simpsons game.
There you go. Yeah. I guess you wouldn't be able to do much, but oh gosh, I'm trying to think because there's so many games.
I imagine in Metroid there's some people you want to play as, right?
Not really, because that's what I was thinking. Like, because in Metroid, it's really just Samus. And Samus is almost always by herself. Like, it's her versus the pirates and the parasites and the Metroids. Like, and there's not a lot of other characters in Metroid.
I got a good one.
Okay.
The anticipation.
Ready for it? Yeah, I'm ready for it. Yep.
It is a vast one too. Any other boxer in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out?
Oh yeah.
Can you imagine if we could go through that game as anyone else, including Mike Tyson?
Yeah, Piston Honda or anything like that. Yeah.
That could be good. Glass
Soda
Joe.
Popinski.
Glass Joe.
Yeah, Glass Joe. Poor Glass Joe.
I'm going through a bunch of games right now. I'm just looking at like different games from different times.
Yeah, like that's really interesting. With the duck, Caitlin, the Duck and Duck Hunt, the aliens and Space Invaders. I mean, yeah, those are classics.
The dog and duck hunt.
Yeah, the dog. Well, that's the thing. You don't really want to play. You're the hunter, right? I'd really rather play as the dog. Well, I mean, you can play as the dog. Well, again, this is Smash Brothers, though. Smash Brothers made things different. So, Smash Brothers basically asked this question.
They did. They kind of did.
Yeah.
That's why I said you got to do it a little differently. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Gosh. Oh man, this is
the
a
dinosaurs and Turok Dinosaur Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, basically, that's the easiest thing to do is to take the enemies from certain games and play as them instead, right? That's what I'm saying with the Foot Soldiers, with Turtles, and things like that. Yeah, I mean, again, like play as the Goombas in Mario Brothers.
That'd be fun,
right? Yeah, I mean, Caitlin, same thing. Raptors in Jurassic Park, exactly. That's the same thing as with Turok.
Turok.
Yeah, I mean, so we could be here forever.
We could
just trying to spitball
Dracula in Castlevania.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess Dracula proper.
Right.
Although you did that recently in the Lords of Shadows game, you become Dracula. That's the twist. So you kind of had that. It's even with Alucard, right?
We could be like specific to games, but yeah, you're right. Like you're not wrong.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm trying to one of the Metal Gears in Metal Gear.
Yeah.
Just a giant robot destroying everything.
Just walking around like playing, might as well call it RoboCop at that point, but that's okay.
Yeah. Actually, Caitlin brings up a great one in chat. I want to talk about this.
Caitlin's
this is something I've always thought about
tonight. Yeah, she's on a game.
Yeah. This is a great one. Be a gym leader, and defend the gym in Pokemon. I would love to have there be a gym leader simulator at some point in Pokemon, where you choose your type, you get to choose from like the Pokedex, and then people challenge you, and it's okay if you lose because you're supposed to lose to certain people, but like you also take great pride in the idea of like I'm a water type leader.
Yeah, hold the gym.
And I've got my. Yeah. Like I think that would be really fantastic. If you could do that. If Caitlin says it's a thing.
Online play.
Online play for what?
Switch.
Oh, for Sword and Shield. Shield. See, I'm not hip with the abbreviations in chat because I'm old. So
Ray wants to do this in real life, Caitlin. We need to make real gyms where Ray can defend them with actual Pokemon, and I would like that to happen quickly. You're a producer.
There's a Planet Fitness opening up down the street here in Tarzana, and I'm gonna get like a bunch of dogs or something, and we're just gonna sit in front of the gym and not let anybody enter.
Right. Just get some really random animals. What is that? It's an otter. What is it for?
Yeah.
Go! Sneak attack.
Yeah.
The woodchuck, eat his wooden leg. I don't have a wooden leg.
You will. Quick. Yeah, quick.
Oh my God, there's so much blood. Don't come near my gym again.
I call this one Bitey. Use bite attack.
Starbucks gyms. Goodness. Go indigestion. I said soy milk. I use 2%.
It's super effective.
Gotta catch up.
Oh goodness! All right. So on that note, we want to know what you think. So yeah, let us know below what characters that you've never been able to play as in a game before you would like to be able to play as. But I like that one. I want to be a gym leader.
That's a
good
one. That's a good one.
That is a good one. That is a good one.
I want to play as Sheik in the Zelda game. Look, Sheik was probably. I don't know about you, Ray. I didn't pick up that Sheik was Zelda till later. You know what I mean? Like it became kind of obvious as you were going, but like that's one of the last great characters. I was like, who is this? You know what I mean? Again, I don't know if you remember figuring it out or not, but like I remember we were younger when that came out. That was really cool.
Yeah. I don't think I figured it out until probably like the water temple.
That's what I said. Yeah, at some point it becomes kind of somewhat obvious. But like I remember like there's this mysterious character Sheik in Ocarina of Time, and nobody knew who it was, and it ends up being Zelda. In fact, in if I'm not mistaken, in Breath of the Wild, there's a skin for Link like that too, because you can dress up as Sheik too. So because Sheik's clothing is based on a place in Hyrule. So
well, because it's the imp. Well, it's the imp.
Right.
The idea of the Sheikah Guardians, right?
Right.
So
Right.
like she gets it from. So yeah, there's an
God,
idea.
I wish they would
that is
remake
passed
that
down.
game. I don't know why that's not happening. It's killing me.
Yeah, I know it. Well, maybe one day. I mean, they look. It happens. We just got Link's Awakening, so I wouldn't be surprised if we got an Ocarina remake again sooner rather than later.
Right. I guess you can play as Zelda in Hyrule Warriors, if I'm not mistaken. So.
Yeah, that's an alternate universe, though.
Well, that's not main
thing.
timeline. That's what I'm saying. That's not
right.
the main.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I mean, that's one of those things where, and I think also you're gonna. Yeah, but again, I think going back to the Ocarina thing, I think Nintendo's really focused on Breath of the Wild 2 right now, as they should be, and should continue to focus on that, so it comes out next year.
Right.
Yeah, at some point, probably Q4.
Right.
Yeah, Q4. But yeah, so that's gonna do it for us, folks. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you were here with us live, thank you so much for listening after the fact. If you're listening to this on your car ride home or whatever, again, we're back to it's fall schedule. So midweek episodes now. Thank you all, though, so much as always for tuning in. We appreciate it. We wouldn't be here without you. 120. That's an inside. Can I tell folks what that
is? Yes.
If you're watching, that's a Tony Robbins thing that Lee just did.
Oh my god.
Lee had a business thing with Tony Robbins virtually this week. So as Lee continues to try to elevate the business to the next level.
I can't do the clap that he does.
His weird clapping. Yeah, I know.
Apparently he does that because they said they cuts his fingers open. He's got gigantic hands, so they all. This one
sure
I can do.
He does.
Oh,
sure. There we go.
Yes.
So there we go. All right.
Bring the music down. That's for you,
Caitlin. With that note, on that note, again, thank you all so much for tuning in. Again, whether you're with us live here on Twitch, you're listening after the fact, wherever podcasts are heard, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, be sure to follow us. As always, it's Geeks Who Like Sports or the GWLS podcast, or of course on YouTube. We appreciate it. As always, we will see you all next. I will see you tomorrow here on Twitch or on Stream Lounge as we go over more in depth What If episode 4, which is the Doctor Strange episode. So be sure to tune in there. Of course, and if you're here for Geeks Who Like Sports, we will see you next week. As I think Lee might have froze for a second. If he did, it's perfect timing. We will see you all next week. Thank you all so much again, everybody, for tuning in. For Lee, I am Ray. Good night.